Now we can examine in detail the source of my original astonishment. How could this same interview show up live on two different broadcasts? And not just any different stations, but CNN and Fox. You might know people who watch CNN because they think Fox is too conservative, and other people who watch Fox because they think CNN is too liberal. They have no obvious corporate affiliation. How could this happen? On the left we have CNN with an elaborate screen, breaking news, plane crashes into World Trade Center tower, and then futures, and the futures looking up on the Dow and the Nasdaq and S&P, and it's 8:54 in the morning. On the right we have on the bottom Fox 5 News. We have live, and in the upper left-hand corner in the flames or in the smoke we have courtesy WABC. 1 second later, the view on both channels changes to the same view. It has the same outer shell with the view of the globe on the left, and the live Manhattan shows up, and that seems to be part of the insert on the upper right. And in the upper left they have the shady area, and courtesy WABC fits in perfectly, even though it looked like it was part of the smoke a couple of seconds ago. And down in the lower right we still see it's 8:54 in both time zones, and we see the same view. What were these two networks breaking in on? A view of a tree and a view of people walking away from them? This interview didn't even start until the audio started, and we heard the reporter asking people if they had seen anything, and it wasn't until the third person actually answered him that he had an interview. It's really lucky that she stopped, because it wasn't 30 seconds more until somebody else actually came walking down from the same direction. What were CNN and Fox going to do if that's what happened to this interview? Don't you think they knew it was going to actually happen? We get a better look at the tree before our willing witness comes up, and just as courtesy WNYW shows up in the little shady box in the upper left of CNN Live. So now we have the screen that perplexed me. We have the very same shell, the very same screen, and the very same font size for courtesy and courtesy, but they couldn't agree on who to give courtesy to. You can see by the look at the letters that they're actually a little different spacing, even though they're the same size. So there seems to be some sort of coordination between the two views, but they're not obviously the same central view. How could this happen at 8:54 with CNN? But now the box is empty on the right, and Lower Manhattan takes over the screen on Fox, and the shell stays the same on CNN Live. And then we see the view that changes everything, even the suspicions that I was watching as I went through this video. Did you catch it? Here we have CNN cutting in on Fox 5. But here we have Fox 5 cutting in on Fox 5. CNN Fox 5 is pretty crazy, but Fox 5 is even crazier when they now say courtesy WNYW. Shouldn't Fox 5 in Washington know that Fox 5 in New York isn't WABC when they're trying to give credit to their own network? Courtesy? As the interview ends and we pan to the right, we see what looks like normal traffic, and we finally see people. One man is walking, seemingly calmly, toward us, and most of the people are walking in the direction that the witness said she just ran from. These people don't look like they're running. They're mostly carrying large bags or satchels, and they seem to be going in the same direction at a remarkably mellow pace from the several shots that we have, and there don't seem to be too many of them. There's a break after the first group, and as we pan away, we realize there's actually quite a break after the last person that we see walking away. And Everyone in the scene is wearing a white, just as they were wearing in the scene before the interview started. Not as colorful as Al Roker's crowd. Now the screen goes blank on the right on both screens. It's all black or it's a pattern. And notice how the courtesy WNYW on the Fox News is interfering with the live Lower Manhattan. We can get different screens and we can get the same screen on both networks at the same time. This is an interference pattern, but it sure is a pattern. And then we have the same pattern on both networks. And then eventually we get the interference that you can hear. And it goes on and you can see that it bleeds over into the left-hand side, and it does it on both screens and both networks. And then if you wait for a while, you can get a pretty little violet on the upper top of both screens and both networks. And it still bleeds over into the left on both networks. And then all of a sudden the towers show up under the black in both networks as the interference still does bleed over. And then just in the nick of time, as all of this is happening, the courtesy WNYW moves to the right on the Fox side, and the logo for WNYW comes up on both screens. And then we get our local news, the alternate side of the street parking, the Boston Yankees postponed due to rain yesterday in Yankee Stadium. And then we find out about last night's Monday Night Football game, also played in New York. Finally, we get another screen on both networks, and at 8:55 we're back to Fox 5 local in Washington. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is seeing things. So you can choose to see no evil, or you can choose to see and know evil.